Is that your friend?
Yeah.
I've never been to a group like that yet, never. I don't think so. I have a class meeting right after.
Christina asked us that.
What were you doing? I think it was like a.
Yeah, but like, active or not. I said, well, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So, right now, we're sharing ours with.
Do you know what their name was? Tell you what I was like so overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
That's like the house.
Yes.
Pretend we're doing.
I think we're all diving, are we all? I don't know. Yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? Good. Okay.
And you need to
On this Monday morning, what? Trying to keep cozy. I don't know about that. Great, I'm excited.
That's good.
Oh, no, learn all week.
Wow, cooking?
You bringing in lunch? Brownies?
No, I'm not. Yeah, well, you're like born. Yeah, they gotta. They're functionally productive.
It's not important on our list of things that are important. That's about number four. Number one is food. Number two is dessert. Three is waiting for inappropriateness. We like that.
I'm under pressure.
Oh, there she is.
She is logging in.
On with us, hello?
Are you? Great way to start your Monday, huh?
What's Kate here? She's meeting with Alice downstairs, so she was what? Alice was here.
Oh.
So she was going to try to be here by 10. Everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, we get to sit.
Yeah, we're waiting for,
What? I think you're back.
Nope. You're all good. It's a memoir.
This is like the third meeting in 3 days.
If anything goes wrong or you have an emergency or whatever, I'll be in Julie's office for the next hour or so, and then I'll be in, it should be good. Have fun, everyone.
Thank you.
What's that?
Amanda.
Hi. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. We're doing modules person. Hey.
Now. So, for those who are doing events, tomorrow longer hours, 10 to 12:30. To events, and there is really to email. We are recording this, so whatever you don't capture today or you need to review, I'll be sending the link out to everyone so you can review it. It is template driven, so for the most part, I'm having Crystal, who is a trainer, go over how to fill out the email, put a graphic. For those who might know, but has a whole section where it's called personas, and you can identify different types of people and give them different messages, all within the same email. But a lot more about that going forward, but you don't have to worry about that right now because we're not doing different personas. We're just doing one persona. So we pull from a list, either Brio you can upload and or with modules once we go live. That would be your persona. But going by young alumni, you can have different identifications. So actually, we are right now really waiting for the CIT interface to be finished. That allows PeopleSoft and others to talk, and it's important because if updates come through or we need to update, we want the right information in iModules. We're hoping in the next 2 weeks that will be completed. As that's completed, then that's when we will be able to go live and start using iModules for emails. Any other points? What's
Just came up here with her, that's why I'm so confused.
She was downstairs.
Downstairs.
Oh, she just put on mute. All right. We're off to a typical Monday morning start.
Who's Kristen Clark?
She's the new Kevin Moore.
Oh, gotcha.
That's not your name, Karen. I have the identity. So Crystal Hickey is our trainer from iModules, and says that she is having technical difficulties. Yeah. So usually it would set, iModules would set up the login and the training, but because we wanted to have the recording to use at our disposal, we set it up. So, and then we're just gonna pass the control off to her as soon as she gets logged on. It's very strange.
At first.
Yeah.
Because we're the same thing with the volunteers.
Messages going out, Tina, do we know yet?
What else? You want me to tell you what we're doing?
Yes,
please.
Last week I was supposed to send you the list of people that are getting invited to the website, and I didn't do that yet, so I'll try and get that today. What we're doing, we're inviting the people that already have access to the website. Okay, so they're the first group to go. So we're just literally taking who's already in there, being able to do it, already able to do their website, and just inviting them to this website. No one knew at this point. Okay. The way email will go out on November 3rd, so next week. An email will go out inviting people to attend. And training is November 17th at noon and November 19th at 6 p.m. And the same person is doing it, or while somebody from there is doing it, it's not me. So that's why I'm sitting in, it's just so I can see how her training goes. So that website. Emails as of right now will be December 8th and 10th. Okay, 6 p.m., December 10th at noon. Any event scheduled yet. As now, we will have some kind of offers for staff, for volunteers at Calc. Hope. We don't really know who's going to staff that at this point, but that's the hope, so please don't share that with your volunteers quite yet. So that's what we have so far. And we have talked about directory that you guys in class programs have as well. Sorry, I'm not quite thinking quite yet. It was kind of a long weekend.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. So that's the plan. To go to the website training can certainly come to it. I'll send you guys this now that it's on TCAM. I have some information. We're going to make a much more comprehensive timeline with everybody, everything on it. But for right now, I can certainly share this with whoever wants to, knowing that dates could change and that you not share it with your volunteers. Okay? But you'll get that shortly, hopefully today.
So the website will be anybody currently coded as a website community manager?
The thing is I have this crazy list right here, so don't ask me who they are, but this is who they are. And I'm assuming that these are store IDs because I don't have net ID, but these people that are webmasters that are already using Cornell Connect. So So it's Class Club and Diversity Group. That's what I know. So these people that'll be invited, do you want to look at it?
Well, you said you want to, well.
I'm gonna send it.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think that we need to send it to our presidents to, just in case we have misinformation on our webmasters? No? To do that if we feel it's necessary?
They aren't gonna have, we didn't plan on putting anyone new in there,
it's fine.
so.
Go with your plan, and if we, that's not necessarily they have active webmasters, I'm thinking I might want to send it to,
Right.
you know.
And we can do that afterwards.
Yep.
We will record it as well.
Okay.
So that they can, I mean, that's why we're recording it.
Yep.
And then share out afterwards with whomever you want to share out with.
Good enough.
So I think we have, Crystal, are you on the phone with us?
Yeah, but it doesn't look like.
She has no phone, right?
Right.
Connected to the audio conference.
Same thing will be true for,
The email.
the email. So right now, class officers don't send their own emails, is that correct?
Some
Through
do,
the-
very few.
Through Cornell Connect?
very few.
Not through
actually,
Cornell
yeah.
Connect.
Well, they can.
Hi, everyone.
Crystal, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so sorry I'm late.
You're fired.
I know. I could not get anything to open up on my computer at all. It's like it tried to crash on me. So I do apologize for that. It's Halloween, it's Monday, and my computer knows it. So I do apologize.
No worries. So we have a room full of people here, and we're all anxious. We're all anxious to get started with email.
Excellent.
This is Crystal Hickey, for those of you who were in training. Some of you were in training last time. Crystal was our trainer when she was here. So thank you for joining us again, Crystal. And I am going to move the control to you. Are you ready for that?
I am. Feel free to move the control over to me at any time. And if there's anything that I start to go over and you want to remind me and go, oh, no, just let me know. And I do verify with you that we're using a template, and you are not interested in me having them pull lists today, is that correct?
We need to know how to pull lists, yes. We're not doing personas. We're just doing basically one persona.
Okay. Do you need some clarification on the persona piece?
Okay. So we're going to set up a general one. We're not going to have a whole bunch of them, like young alumni at this point. So just assume there's just one type of persona.
Oh, okay. So we're just going to do like one email template. I'm only working.
Graphic, text, and then understand how to put a link in the email.
Oh, yes. This is great. We can absolutely do this morning. And if there are any questions, please feel free to let me know. Let's see. Everything is flashing at me. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything I need to do?
Or is there anything that I need to do? Get stuff. We have the,
here we go. Oh, been very, very hard about this.
Yeah, really.
Excellent. See, my computer, not a fan of me this morning, so we will get going. And we've got this scheduled for 2 hours this morning. Eating generally only takes an hour and a half, so we are good, and we have time for questions.
Okay.
Excellent. And if someone would do me a favor and just shoot me an email with a list of everyone's names after we're done, just so I can keep my training documentation up to date, I would really appreciate that. That way I don't have to take a roll call while we're on the phone.
I'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, we are going to go through just a standard email marketing training. It's going to be the in-depth training. I'm also going to show you how to pull lists of your constituents to build out your recipient list area, as well as upload list and do the typed out email addresses as well. So we're going to go over all of those different items. We are going to focus today on working with your email templates. Now, I've got not the level community, but I've got the community we're going to work with pulled up right now. Let me, let's see. Oh, continue. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I full screen. Okay, there we go. Let me hide that. Oh, just working with your meeting software. Sorry. Okay. So with email marketing, to manage email marketing and to create your emails and so on, that can be done a couple of different ways. The first is from this email dropdown, you could immediately create either an express or a custom email. Now we'll be working with custom emails so we can have our saved templates. But I'm going to go through all of the different items with email marketing, including your reporting piece, some of the different areas that you can find. So I'm going to go to Email Home first. Now, your Email Home screen, this is going to have 3 grids. This will show you your saved drafts, your emails, and your email history. Now, for released emails and email history, when I talk about them, I am going to switch over to my training site because yours is empty at the moment, which is absolutely fine. But I'll be able to do everything else over here within your site, so don't mind me when I switch over. Now, you do have 2 types of emails that are available. However, from the product and what I've been told, you will be creating custom emails. There are 2 types of custom emails. You can do a one-time custom email or a recurring custom email. Your custom emails, those are going to be more for your newsletters or birthday type emails. So you'll want to coordinate with whoever else may be sending out newsletters and birthday emails, so you're not just inundating your constituents with emails, getting 2, 3, 4 emails every day, of course, or 3 birthday emails every day from Cornell, like that. But that's what your recurring custom email is for. Those are going to be for the emails that you set up once and you never plan on touching again. Your one-time custom emails, those are also going to be great for newsletters, because newsletters, you do plan on updating the information within those emails, so you don't have to make sure you catch it before it releases again. So you create it once, and then you can reuse it. So you can reuse that email from email history, or you can create a new one using a template. Just to let you know, an express email, that is just a blank content block. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It just got a lot of fuzz all of a sudden. Express emails are just blank content blocks, not as functional as the emails. You can't pull in any community content like an event listing or a news listing. There are no templates that you can utilize. All it is a content block, and they can only be used once. You cannot set them to be recurring, and once they're sent, they're sent. Skip this toolbar for just a moment, and I'm going to move down to our grids here. Your first grid is a saved drafts grid. This will show you all of the emails in the community that you're working out of. This will show all of the emails that are being worked on currently. Now with these, you can hover over the email. You can hover over the email and see a thumbnail image of that email. You can see who it was saved by and the date and time it was saved. You can also see how far they are within the email build process. You can also click on any of the check marks to go into that email in that area to continue working on it. Now, if you do not like check marks, if you would rather work with a drop-down list instead, you can work over your gear icon and use your same options, so email details, build email content, and so on. You have an additional option here, and that's view email. You can view the email in a different window. Very nice. I love a Beacon-themed email. I do. Now, when you view email, you'll also be able to see what your footer looks like. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns about your footer, if there are any changes that need to be made, you'll want to make sure you get a hold of your contact there at Cornell, and they can get a hold of us, letting us know that we need to make an update to that footer. Because these footers are housed within iModules because they hold the unsubscribe link. When someone clicks on the unsubscribe link, it asks them if they would like to unsubscribe from the particular category that we're working out of. And we'll talk about categories in just a moment. Or if they would like to unsubscribe from all of the community's emails. So if you're working out of a different community, so a volunteer community, one of the different college communities, or a volunteer community, it'll say that community name instead. Not a total universal opt-out. It is just opting out of this one community email. If they were to go to their own profile, then they could opt out of all emails.
So can I just, for a minute, just so you guys understand, that girl and that super user team for emails are working on those categories and what they will look like. So I don't know how much you get involved today with that sort of thing, but it is on their individual, the alums' individual profile of what they want to be in and what they won't be in. And CE is also included in those, although, Amanda, if you're on the phone, I know we'll have to make sure we have the right ones that you'll want going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. No problem. All right. So also under that gear drop-down, can delete an email. So if you've created an email, whether it's you started working on one and don't like it or don't need it anymore, or there are a couple of other ways to just create an email off on the fly. And if you realize you don't need it, feel free to delete it. Also multi-select and delete any of the selected. Now, I do recommend that you talk to those people first. Excuse me. And it looks like I've got a couple in there that I do need to go in and delete. For more actions, you can also print and export selected. What you're printing or exporting is what you're really seeing in the grid. Excuse me. Not the email itself. It's just the information that you see in the grid. You also print all, export all, or save all to a PDF document. So once this grid starts to fill up, and you'll notice there are 5 pages so far, but 41 items, there is a keyword filter if you do need to search for your email. Now, email names are admin-only names, and I'll show you where we can put that information in when we create our own. Next grid is a released emails grid. So once you're done with your email and you're ready to send it, it will drop from the saved drafts grid to the released emails grid. So one thing about your saved drafts grid is that it's your safety zone. Anything in a saved drafts grid will never send to anyone, even if you've chosen your recipients and scheduled your email. even if you have all 5 of these check marks checked, if it's still in saved drafts, it's safe. It's never going to send. But once you confirm that you are ready to send, it will live in your released emails grid until it's actually sending to your recipients. Now that's going to look like, small, there we go. What that's actually going to look like is something like this. All of your emails will be in order by next run date. So you'll see which emails are going to send next. Just like your saved drafts grid, you can hover over the email and see a thumbnail preview. Emails are not nearly as pretty as yours. You can also see the email category that the email is being sent out of, and who it's from and the subject line. If it's a recurring email, you can see the last time it ran, and the next run date, of course. You have the estimated number of recipients and time it was added to this grid. Now, the gear icon, you edit the details. So we're at properties of the email, and we're going to talk about all of these properties when I create an email for us a little bit later. Your same option to view email. You can also view the recipient list. So if you've used a couple of different ways to build out your recipient list, so if you've uploaded a list and you did a search within iModules and used a couple of different ways to create a recipient list, this gives you the ability to download a single copy. So it gives you all of your recipients in one document instead of those 3 or 4 different ways that you've chosen. So I have used our data viewer or query building tool to build out a list for this email, and I've used several custom lists as well. So I can download one single Excel file, show the email addresses on my list. When I open that list, it has already deduped it for me. Now, our next option is Send Preview. So if you need to send an additional preview before your email actually sends out to the public, you can send your preview here. You can also move your email to drafts. So you can move your email from the released emails grid back up to your safety zone, back up to the saved drafts grid. Sorry about that. And if you move an email back to saved drafts, it will not send to anyone, even if it was supposed to send in 2 minutes. It will not send to anyone if you move it to drafts. This is also a great option if you plan on editing any of the email details and it's going to send within a few minutes. You want to give yourself some time to actually work on your email. You can also delete your email here as well. Same options under More Actions for printing and exporting. First, same icons over here to the right. Now, once your email has actually sent, it will drop into your email history grid. This will keep a running total of every single email that's sent out of your community. Now, we do not have an archive at the moment. One that we are working on, we're on updating email marketing. We are working with a third-party vendor called SendGrid. We are working on updating the reporting feature with email, as well as the sending metrics and sender reputation, all of those fun items. And I'll show you where you can find more information about that on modules. So more information will be coming on the reporting feature with your email history. But in email history, you get the same type of information as in your released emails. You get email name, category, who it's from, and subject line. You get the last time it ran, and actual number of recipients. So we have an estimate here and our actual number of recipients down here. Now, of course, this is my training site. That's why I'm only sending to 2 people at a time. And the date and time it was added to the email history grid. Under your icon in the email history, you have the ability to view your email and your recipient list, just like we have above. You can send a preview from the email history. So if you plan on reusing your email, it's great to send a preview. Hey, is this something that we want to reuse? What's going on? Do I like this email? So you always have the ability to send a preview of your emails. Then one of the qualifications for sending an email within iModules, we make you send a preview before you can even release an email. Here you're actually taking a look at that preview. Now, below, if you've used a custom email, which you all should be doing, you will have the ability to reuse email. So instead of using a template every time, if you have a recurring newsletter that you would like to set up, but you don't want to set it up as recurring, so you have to catch it before it goes out every month, you actually come down to your email history and click Reuse Email. It's like using a template. So it gives you everything about that original email, and then you can go in and just edit that information without affecting the original. We do give you the ability to delete email, although we don't recommend it. If you delete an email from email history, it will delete all of the reporting that goes along with it. So again, only delete emails from the email history if it was maybe a test email that you'd like to clean out of the email history. And the last item that I skipped here, for those of you that are very visual learners, you know that right away. The email exception report. Email exception report is my favorite report, and I love it. This will let you know how your recipient list was built out. It's built out using some custom lists of mine. It lets you know the intended number of recipients and how many emails you actually sent. So I tried to send to 37 people, but I only actually sent to 3. And this tells me exactly why. This tells me how many duplicate email addresses I had. If any had an invalid format, or if you were already flagged in the system as being invalid email addresses, so they've been kicked back before as a hard kickback, and we'll talk about those. If the constituent account has been disabled, we won't email those either. Also, if the constituent is marked as deceased within the system, the preferred email field is empty. We won't email those. If they've unsubscribed, let you know that. We have a newer feature, spam report, and this is something that's currently being developed, and it's being released as we speak. If you have been placed on a spam report, so if somebody has marked your email as spam, it was there. An unknown. I have not run into an unknown just yet, so if you get an unknown, please shoot me an email, let me know. I would love to see it and take a look. You can download your exception report and actually see who had reason. So you can see which ones were duplicate email addresses, which ones had opt-outs, which ones were invalid. Now, we do have some business rules that go along with this, because I know some of you will look at a file like this and go, oh no, the numbers don't match. So we do have some business rules. Once an email address is, because it's a duplicate, it won't show for the other items either. But there are some additional business rules. So I'll show you where that help site is in just a moment. We all have a kickback report. So the emails that were sent, we were able to actually send them, but they didn't reach inbox. So these are your kickbacks or your bounce backs if you're used to working in another email system. This email didn't actually have any kickbacks. if you wanted to take a look at all of the kickbacks within your community, you could clear filters here. You could on specific emails to see the kickback for any of those emails. You could also date restrict and see kickbacks between certain dates, or you could filter by name or email. So if you're curious as to whether somebody is on the kickback report, they've come back as an invalid email we just send to them, but it was an invalid email address, or it was a soft kickback, and I'll talk about those in just a moment. You can see they are actually on that kickback report. Leave mine blank and just pull everyone I have in my kickbacks and generate report. Kickbacks can also be reached under email and kickbacks right there, and that will bring you to the same area. Now, what your kickback report will look like, and if you prefer to work instead of on the website, you can export this information. But on this page, you get the constituent ID if we know it, the email kickback address, so the email address we sent to, and the current email address we have on file, the member name, and you have the type of kickback. So we have two types of kickbacks that you're going to see most often. We have hard bounce, and bounce generally means that their email address was not a good one. So bad mailbox, you'll see that. If I filter through the text here, it usually lets you know what happened. The email account that you tried to reach does not exist, so this one actually gives you great information. So hard bounce, you may have some system type errors as well. And also have, let me scroll and see if I can find one. I do. I send a lot of fake people. We have soft bounces. There's one. We also have soft bounces that you could potentially see. That means that the email address is real, but we can't hit their inbox, and usually it's because their inbox is full. And in the wording here, the email account that you tried to reach is over quota. Your system is automatically set up that if we get 5 soft bounces in 6 months, we'll switch them from a soft bounce to a hard bounce. And we'll mark them as invalid within the system. So all of your hard bounces get marked as invalid within the system. If you get an email from someone and they say, no, that's my email address, I'm not sure what was going on, you can select, so it says email is valid. If you mark someone's email as valid, you can check this box, and at the bottom of the screen, click Update. And we'll update their profile as being a valid email address. That will come into play for those soft kickbacks when we got more than 5 in 6 months. Okay. Now here, I'm going to go back to my email home screen. Any questions so far?
Chris,
Yes.
looking at the history, is it just my content only?
That's a great question. That's going to be all content within the community that you're working in.
You filter it to get just my content.
Right. That's where your email name, that your naming convention is really going to come into play. Your keywords and how you've named your emails. The email name itself is an admin-only name. It's going to help a lot.
I can search on that and just bring up my own.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
There's one other question around that. So if we wanted to, right now, use a naming convention for emails, so they can look their own up a little easier, sort on their own, well as a net ID, so that net ID is not visible to the end user?
Correct. Correct. The from name and the from name and subject line will be visible to the user, but not the actual email name itself.
Okay. We could potentially still use what we do today, if that makes sense.
I also have a quick question. In the system right now, is there the ability to, and I'm sorry if I missed this, differentiate between the sender's email and the reply to email address?
Yes, there is, and I will show you how to do that when we create one.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. So from here, I'm going to move up to this toolbar, over to your site as well, a little bit. Now, this toolbar here in the middle, we have global email settings. Global email settings is a blind carbon copy. This is a blind carbon copy for every email that gets sent out of this community. So if there's anyone that needs a copy of every single email that gets sent from this community, feel free to put their email address in here, and you can have multiple people. And if you've enabled this option, you can also send a copy of email on release. This will do is send a copy of the email when it moves from your saved drafts grid in released emails grid. So as it gets ready to actually send, this person will get a copy of the email, so almost like an additional preview. Now your next option is design templates. This will show you all of the design templates available within your community.
And you, just so you're clear, we are all in one community. It's the plus classes and diversity groups, which will have their own communities. So they're in one. So when she says your community, we as central staff are all together in one community.
Thank you very much for the clarification. I wasn't sure if I was just speaking with the one community here.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so all of the templates are going to be housed here, and and please correct me if I'm wrong. Debbie and Thomas are in charge of the templates for right now?
Correct.
Okay, but you can take a look at these if you're curious of which templates are available. Now, this is an area where new templates can be added without creating a brand new email. Ooh. And delete templates if you don't need them.
So let's talk about the templates for just a minute, Crystal.
Absolutely.
Have gone through pretty painstaking exercises modules to make sure that all the branding and unification, if you will, of all these templates show that the email is coming from Pearl. And as you will see in some of the communities as far as classic clubs and diversity groups, it's a little less branding because they start making a difference to know that, to show people that this is coming from Central. We've elevated it, if you will. I know around Giving Day you might have heard some of this language. We really tried to take our emails to the next level, and that's what they're trying to do with these templates as well. So right now they will be looking at them going forward to see if they're working appropriately, if they're getting the responses that we need to. But no new templates, and these templates can't be adjusted unless we find an issue. And if we do, we'll send back to Thomas and Debbie, because they're the ones who've been designing it. So we don't have to worry about new templates, and you don't have to worry about adjusting them or adjusting the footer like Krista was talking about earlier, all of it's been set for a purpose, so.
Excellent. Your next option is saved content. This will show you any of the saved content for your community. So once your classes, clubs, and volunteers all get their own communities, it will not show in this area. This only shows yours. This shows you the saved content and allow you to remove any saved content. So if you accidentally save some, or if you save some and you no longer need it, this is a great way to clean it up. There are two types of saved content. There's saved content that is editable, saved content that is not editable. Your editable saved content is great for like file update sort of information. That way I can drop this content into my email, and then if I have some specific wording I'd like to use in here, I can change that. Your not editable saved content is going to be great for legal statements, mission statements, fixed images, things like that. Any items that you plan on using more than once in more than one email and you'd like other admins to have access to, instead of saving it to your desktop and having to do a copy and paste every time, but you do not want it to be edited at all. Next is a custom lists area. Custom lists is an area where you can start to build out a recipient list. Now, this is the ability to build out a list of up to 50,000 email addresses, one by one, each one on a new line. Now, these lists are not dynamic. These are going to be great for maybe your department, or if you'd like to send out a test email and you know that you'd like to email the same people every time. This is not going to be anyone that you can pull in the system using our query building tool. And that tool works here in a little bit. Again, this is going to be great for, I use departments all the time, but for non-dynamic lists. So you're going to put the graduating class of 2016 in here because that list will probably change tomorrow. Custom lists are not going to be used very often because they are manually updated. But it's there. Now, when you have custom lists, you can select and use as many as you would like within one email. So another option I have for custom list is having a list of all of your admins. So if you needed to send an email to all of the admins, that's a great way to do it as well. I'm going to go back to my email home. Another item with custom lists I forgot to mention, it does bear mentioning, is the goal of our system is to make a match to a constituent record. If the system cannot find a match to the email address that you entered, it will then create a non-member record with just that email address in it. The system is only trying to make a match on the preferred email address. So it doesn't matter if someone has that email address as a secondary or a third email address. It only takes a look at preferred email addresses. So if the system cannot make a match, it will create a non-member record. So if you ever come across a non-member record with just an email address in it, it probably came from email marketing. All right, finally, we have email categories, and I'm not going to go too in-depth here because they're already being set up for you, but just to show you what they are and where they're going to live. All of your email categories will be placed in this area. Now, your email categories are so you can separate your emails into buckets, if you will. So as you're sending out your email, you are going to tag your email. So for instance, I could tag my email as training opportunities or as general information. Now, by default, all of your emails are general information. So you do want to make sure that you're selecting the appropriate category, and you are going to have a lot more categories added. Because if you don't select the proper category every time, then all of your emails are going to be sent under general information. And these are the categories that your recipients are opting out of. So opted out of general information and you're sending all of your emails under general information, then opted out of 100% of your communications. So it's one to keep in mind with your categories. With your category area, you will not be creating categories or managing them or editing them or anything like that. We do have an opt-out report to who has opted out of your categories. Now, since you are not seeing emails at the moment, sign up. When you enter your opt-out report, you can see all of your categories available, plus community. Community is if they did the opt-out of all email communications from your community, and also have the spam report. You can date restrict your opt-out report, and you can also select individual categories that you'd like to see. You can multi-select using your control or shift keys. I'm going to leave my dates blank because it's my training site and I don't have very many opt-outs. Right, with your opt-out report, zoom a little bit, you will have a constituent ID if the system knows who that person was when we sent them an email. First name, last name, email address that we sent the email to, and the email category that they opted out of. Or have the date and time they opted out, and the email that spawned them opt out. So Homecoming Spring 14 caused this person to opt out of my athletics emails. If it says an A, that means they opted themselves out from their profile, or they called or emailed us and told us to opt them out. So we went to their profile to opt them out for them. Just to show you where you could potentially opt someone out, that is under Members. Members. So do this on your site. Members, and I'll open that in a new tab. Now on that member profile, there's a tab called Subscription Management. And this is where they can choose, or you can choose the category that they want opted out of, either the category or all email communications, and you'll notice that grays everything out. Now, if you just deselect both to opt out of everything, and a new category was created, everyone is automatically opted into that new category unless they've done the universal opt-out. Drop-down, when your additional communities added, will allow you to navigate to the additional communities to opt out of other community emails as well. All right. Now that's our tool here. The events drop-down. Oops. Talked about kickbacks. Design templates down to settings matches this toolbar here. So design templates, Oops, there you go. Design templates, save content, custom lists, categories, and then settings is your global email settings. Last piece under this email dropdown is email calendar. Email calendar. Email calendar will show you all emails that will be sent at all communities. So you can see all emails that will be sent out of all communities. It doesn't look like any of your emails have been scheduled, but you will be able to see emails that are in draft, released, and sent. And to show what that looks like, oops, over my training site once again. Move to my calendar. So it'll look something like this, and you can choose to only see the emails out of your community, or you can see emails from all communities. With these emails, or with this calendar, this is a great tool so you know how many emails are going to be sent and at what time. So you know whether within all communities we're going to send people 15 emails in one day or none. You can also click on any email out of any community to see a thumbnail image, and you can also click on that thumbnail to see the entire email in a pop-up. You can see when it runs, the subject line, the author, and the estimated number of recipients, the category, and what community it lives in. Okay, so from here we're going to create an email. So I'm going to select one-time custom email. Okay. Okay. Now, when we create an email, top box there, that general information box. We start off with email name. Again, this is an admin-only name. And actually, I've started on my, let me start on your site. So again, custom one time. This is an admin-only name. Your email description is also an admin-only description. Next is your email category. You're going to choose which email category you'd like to send this email from. Now, notification email, this is who gets notified that this email has been sent and delivered. So, I'm building the email, I may need to have somebody else notified that this email has been sent. Only one email address can be added on this line. Next, header information, and this is where your constituents really start to see the information. So you control who the email is from. Helps if I can spell. There we go. Control who the email is from. So the from, oh my goodness, the from email address, excuse me. I'm going to make it a group email address. A reply to email address. So this can be different. So that question I had a little bit earlier, that can be different, the from email and the reply to email address. I do recommend it being a group email address or something along those lines. That way it's not just one person checking those. But again, this is the person that needs to get those questions, comments, concerns, strong disagreements, anything like that. Also, when someone hits the reply option within their own email program, they will see this email address. Your subject line. Subject line will pre-fill with your community name, brackets. Now, it's done for two reasons. The first reason is it aids in open rates, and the second reason is it helps to keep your email out of spam boxes, so out of those junk mail boxes. And you can see that information in your subject line best practices right here. It is completely up to you if you keep that bracketed item. We do recommend it, but again, it is completely up to you. If you keep the bracketed item, we suggest that you put your true subject line after the bracketed item. Oops, a little scroll. There you go. Now, with your subject line, we do have a tokens drop-down list for you, so you can personalize your communications to your constituents. You can utilize tokens. Actually, find a token that I would like to use. Do we have a name token? Word first name. So you'll see your token and select fields. Just at the end. Let me put that beginning there. With your tokens, you will use those as though they're regular words. So use a token as a word. You'll punctuate. You'll punctuate, use spaces in all of those items. Now, if you are becoming very confident with your tokens, make sure you are double checking them, because if I were to type in this token and miss a space, so missing a space between first and name, then every single recipient sees # preferred, first name #. So that's something to keep in mind. Our system doesn't really know what it means unless it's the true token name. Now, tokens will only pre-fill if the system has this data for the recipient. So if we send this email to someone that does not have a preferred first name in the preferred first name field, it will show blank, comma, the amazing subject line. So keep that in mind when you're utilizing tokens. Now, next we have a pre-header area. Pre-header area will take the place of a preview for your emails. Now, Outlook has been giving me all kinds of problems this morning. Now, Outlook gives me a little pop-up in the lower right-hand corner of my screen letting me know I have a new email. You also put those on your cell phone, and Gmail can have one set up. So a lot of different email programs have that set up to be available. Now, most of your email previews give you who the email is from, the subject line, and the first line of the email. Well, technically, the first line of your email is this email on a web page, and that's very marketing friendly. That doesn't prompt anyone to want to open your email. So it'll give you the ability to replace the first line of your email with a pre-header. This is kind of a marketing ploy, if you will. So you can use your pre-header to say maybe promo code inside. There you go. Open me, or have you donated today? Something those lines. You can also use tokens with your pre-header. Now, below the header box, we have a content box, that has your email footers. So we have 2 email footers at the moment. We have the email marketing footer, which has the entire footer with the address, all of that information, plus the unsubscribe link. And it looks like you also have one that's just the unsubscribe link. So it's up to each one you're using. I'm sure you've got some guidelines there in place of which one you should be using. Then the view email in a browser link, and you do have control of what that text says. Here we'll save and continue. Now, the next screen, this is where you're choosing your template. Choose your template. Now, once you move beyond this screen, the option grays out on the left, and you cannot go back. So if you choose a single column and then you go back and realize, oh, I really needed a 2-column, you need to start your email over. Now, I have mobile-ready templates available for you that we're utilizing today. Let's see. And a preference on which one you would like me to utilize for us today?
Do we, one click, and maybe it's not ready yet.
Let's see, call one click.
It's a single call to, it'll go, if you go back, called single to action. If that template is ready, that would be the best to show.
Call to action?
Yes.
This, excellent, excellent. I will show that one.
So you guys is the one that Debbie and Thomas put together. It's really, I think, I'd say the date, one of the most used. It's just basically what we do now. I think here's the email about whatever the event is, and then register here. They just have it titled as single call to action right now. Then the save the date one is pretty straightforward if we need that. And there's also in there a newsletter, which I don't think too many of us do those, but there is one designed more maybe towards a class club or diversity group when we get there.
All right. So we'll do the single call to action option. Here, save and continue. And you'll notice Choose Template has grayed out over on the left. And I've moved into the Build Content area. Now, Build Content. This you have the ability to go in and replace the image. So that's what you'll want to do. And we've given you image sizes because the people working with your templates are amazing. So Debbie and Thomas and our designers, they've given you the preferred image size you'll want for your header image. You have some additional text, so your title will go there. You'll replace your text here and a call to action button. So we're going to talk about how to edit all 3 of these. Edited additional, like an additional title option. I can show you how to do that as well. And we're going to talk about our tools over on the left. The first tool over on the left is Open Preview. This is where you can see your email in a new window. So we've got our email. We've got View This Email on a web page. As I scroll down, you can see our footer. Because you're working with a template right now and everything is already set up for you, you will not need to work with Skin Builder or Custom CSS. You will not need to work with either of those. And new content as well. You should not need to create additional new content to work with your newsletters. You may need to use saved content, so save editable content. As you click and drag saved content into your email, you'll notice those 2 green arrows on either side of my content. That lets me know if this content's going to drop at the top or, excuse me, above or below that existing content. And this is where I can see content that I can add to my email. So I needed to add an additional button, or if I needed to add a quote with a thumbnail, any of these items I can add to my email. So there's a lot of saved content in here already that you can utilize. So yeah. Now those are going to be the main items that you utilize as far as your left-hand tools go, and I will leave it really up to Thomas and Debbie to let you know if you will be utilizing any of the additional tools over here over to the left. So we're going to move into actually editing this email. Now, the first piece here is replacing our header image. Now to that, I'll click the editing pencil. Takes us to a page that has 2 columns on it, and I'll click this editing pencil here on the left. You'll notice that our image is already there. And right click and go to Properties. Properties 600 by 175. So this image so far, right here. I get the image. Now that I'm in this table block, I'll go to Image Manager. And Placement Image. Now, if you do not, I remember that from training. If needed to upload your image, you would click Upload here. Now you want to make sure all of your images are already edited prior to uploading. So you want to make sure they're resized. Everything is already in place prior to uploading your images. We do maximum file size of 10 megabytes, but all of your dimensions are going to be your dimension restrictions are a little bit smaller for email marketing. So let me into email marketing. Looks full. I'm so proud of you guys. Look at all those folders.
The work of the super user group, the original email group, they've been trying to get logos and things that we'll need on an ongoing basis here. I don't think it's completely complete, but they are working in that arena. They have some, and they're trying to keep it much more organized and clean than what we have right now, because there is no really search ability, if that's correct. So
Correct.
structure to it, so that will help people find what they're looking for when they need it.
So,
Yes.
really quick, if we want to upload image that's not in there, we just ask the super user team to do it? Or do we have the ability to do that on our own?
I mean, we definitely can do it on our own. I just think they really want to try and stick to a structure, so.
If we have guidelines for that?
Yeah. Debbie hasn't released them yet, I don't believe.
Well, all my classes will give me images they want to use for their email.
Yes, I think that's fine, it's just, as long as we have a structure, I don't think there's a problem.
I wonder if the logos will follow, like, class logos, if they'll follow those structures that are necessary.
They're trying to, I mean, we're trying to get them to do that. Again, just don't forget, these are not so much these are pertaining to our central emails, not so much to the day in, day out class as far as the actual structure. So I know we will tend to be more lenient with if a class wants a certain email to confirm a certain event versus, let's say, we're going to send out for homecoming or calc or something like that. So that's kind of the difference. But I know they are trying to make them as clean and as logical as far as following structures across all the emails.
So, I'm sorry, I'm still a little confused. So we'll be able to actually make our own folder and put images that we want to use in the email? Okay, yep.
As long as it's under those properties.
Yeah, and I'll get the structure that they're using for everybody.
I find that all the class logos will already be loaded in.
Yeah. I think so, right?
They should be.
Are you in there? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great, okay.
So with the images that you want, if you're using this tool, you add it to an existing folder that's already there, or you can create your own folder if it's not already there. Yep. We're just, so far, it's just kind of a starting point. It can be adjusted.
And Michelle's on that super user team, so we can keep asking you. Thanks, Crystal.
Oh, yeah. All right. So your main goal with header image is to make sure that it is 600 pixels wide. So we did give you the starter dimension, 600 by 175. So that's 600 wide by 175 tall. So you don't want it to be too tall, of course, but if you need to make a shorter one, that's okay, or just a little bit taller, that's fine as well. Placing one, you want it to be, if you click on properties, 600 wide. This one, it's 270 because it's in there, I think, and it's going to be one that works. That one was perfect. All right, we're using kittens today. So 600 by 175. Not need to worry about any of the other properties here. Now, at the top, because it is your header image, now we do have some additional properties you may want to take a look at, and I'm not sure if you have any compliance guidelines that requires you to put in these text down at the bottom, but we do have alt text. Alt text can come in very handy for those instances where you're sending to recipients that not automatically download images. This is the alt text that lives behind your image. So this will show up when your image doesn't show up, or if your image is ever broken, this is the text that will show behind your image. So this is the alt text. Text is just to show you here as well as within your site. Title text is like a tooltip on your image. So if I hover over my image, it gives me a little balloon pop-up with some text there. And your long description, this is going to come in handy for your recipients and your constituents, depending on where your image lives, that have reader programs. This is for your visually impaired. This will read, their reader programs will read the long description to them. Put some alt text. And my image. So I've inserted my image. Again, I deleted that first image, but I kept the table, so I just clicked on my image and hit my delete button into my image manager to select my new image, save my version, and load content, and now my new header. Now a little bit further, I can edit my email. Again, so over on the left. And then I can edit my title and also edit my text. Now, this is content that you would like to save for reuse. Save, give it a name, and you can also save it as editable or not editable. And it will show up in that list for you to drop into your emails. we go. Now next we're going to edit our call to action button. So I can edit my button here. Button. I can edit it. Instead of saying button, you can say register or make it a, oops, I deleted too far. Just keep adding, so don't delete too far like I've done. Pardon me. So your call to action button, whatever you'd like it to be. Now either hyperlink the verb or the words or highlight the entire thing. Let's see. Oh, no. We have Hyperlink Manager right here with the globe and a chain link icon. And this is where you'll plug in your URL. So if it's the URL to your giving form or to your event registration or to a survey form or a nomination form, where whatever action form you'd like to send them to, this you'll plug in your URL. Now either link just the word or highlight the entire table. And save. Questions about editing the email?
Well, I said that when you started it, but can you just change the type, or do you need to change it, save it, then upload it every time?
Change one more time. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so can you just click on your email and change the type, change the typing, or do you need to change the typing, then save it to a folder on the left, and then read it to your email? Do you know what I'm saying?
So kind of like this here, if I needed to edit the verbiage here, what I can do is I can click the little editing pencil. Editing pencil again. You can edit here. Let's say I get that out and save. Oops, I didn't mean that as anything. And then save. There.
Oh, and then, yeah, I think what you're referring to is the visual edit button that we have now, that you can change the text on the fly and then just save it. They don't have that, like that. But it seems it's similar. It's pretty good. Similar in concept, but it's just different from a layout perspective. It's a couple more steps. Yeah, a couple more steps. Yep.
What are the options with font and size and have all those editing tools?
That's a great question. With the way that your email template has been set up, it's been up so everyone's using the same font, the same sizes, the same colors, the same everything. So I'm actually going to turn that over to Kim and Debbie and Thomas and let them kind of be your guide with that and see if it's going to be allowed. Because you have a few options, but
Yeah, these templates are really coming from a central office perspective. So if you're building for a class club and or a diversity group from that perspective, then it'll be less lenient. So you'll be able to still create a template. Thomas is working on a template right now for those groups. This will be to navigate even more so than this. And what's been changed is they'll have the freedom to pick more if they want to change font or size or that sort of thing, because it really is their email, but a little less restrictive from what we want it to look like. It's really more about what they want it to look like. We're putting down some guidelines and some things already chosen for them. So it's not as restrictive, but it still will have some kind of limits around it.
I have a question, and I apologize if it's repetitive for some of you, but can you go back to the editing? It could just click a pencil.
Mhm.
And the content reuse options,
Oh,
can you explain the difference between those? There were two of them up there.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. So save content for reuse, and then you'll give it a name. Now, this is saving it as editable content. So if I were to drop this into a future email, or if another admin were to drop this into a future email, they could change the text. But if I deselected this box, then it is permanent. They could drop it into their email, but they could never change the text. So I would only deselect this box if you were saving maybe a mission statement or a legal statement or something that you did not want anyone changing any of the text on.
So it being, let's say we come up with language that we really like above the register now, or something with the individual's profile, and decide we want to use that universally, then we would be able to say, save this content, say it's about, maybe it's remember the button that we have right now in Harris, it's called registered now, or it's called,
Register here and see who's coming. Yeah, register here.
we wanted to have specific content that we wanted to use universally across, so we could call that, let's say, see who's coming, maybe that's the thing that will best register with you guys. And we don't want anybody to change it, we want it like this, and we would just leave it, editable. So then when you're creating your new event, you just go there and make Crystal, at some point when it's appropriate, we go back and show them where they can pick this language up from. You can just pick the language up and then drop it into your email.
Absolutely.
I'll do that every time.
Mhm. So once you have any saved content, you have your saved content editable and your saved content not editable over here to the left. So your not editable, you could click and drag, and you'll, looks like I just got a spacer here. So City Vision, that's a good one. There we go. Vision in and load. When you load some that's not editable, all you can do is move it around or remove it. Drop in saved content that is editable. Let's see. Maybe some extra text or maybe a quote. I could drop in a quote and load. Load that, it immediately takes you to an area to start making changes. A little bit?
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Are there any other questions before I move on? All right. So from here, I'm going to save and continue. And on this next screen, this is where we're going to send our preview. Now, if you have entered in a different reply to address on the email details, so who recipients are replying to with questions, comments, concerns, and strong disagreements, you may want to put your email address here if you're sending a preview to anyone other than yourself. So as you're adding recipients to get a copy of your preview, if you'd like them to respond to you with any additional comments or suggestions,
This to be like the task that you guys might see, send. You could clever, and then the comments there.
mm-hmm. What is hers? Oh, wrong.
Did we populate if we use them? Do you have to type them every time?
I don't know, that's a good question for, Crystal. Go ahead.
Crystal, will those email addresses pre-populate once we begin to use them more? Typing in a person's name?
Oh, great question. That will depend on your that will be browser setting. That'll be an iModule setting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
Mm-hmm.
can follow along with.
There's not anything custom right now for us. So once you get the templates built, that's something we'll have to create for all you guys. I know Lauren Coffey was asking about that too. And we'll also have to create something for the once we train them as well. There's not anything right yet. Our site has a lot of training, which is on their online site, which is really good, like better than ever was. Close your ears. But we'll use that if we need to get started until something gets built, but there isn't anything right now. And then don't forget, this will be recorded so we can reuse it as we need to as well.
Oh, okay. Because one of the things that I had was my Cornell Connect user guide.
Yeah.
That's it.
Come up with something. Find it.
And today I'll be showing you where the help site is and all of the information that I talked about today.
Okay.
So here, this is where you'll send preview. And the green message says it's very important to actually take a look at the preview that you've sent. Now, at the very bottom of the screen, this is where you would potentially save this email as a design template. Now, again, you want to work with the powers that be at your location on whether or not you're saving additional templates, but this is one of the other ways to save a template out of your email. Here's preview. And Training Magazine knocked my preview out of the way, but I got my pop-up of my preview. There's preview. You'll alt text there, kittens. You'll notice that I am looking at my email in technically a preview window. Right now, it does not count as an open. To have this email count as an open, I need to either download the images, click ink within the email, ink, or actually open up the email in its own window. So actually open the email. So that's what counts as an open. So when you're looking at your reporting area, more people have seen your email than maybe what your opens look like. Now, we are currently working on our reporting features, so there is going to be more to come on that. Right, I'll save and continue, and it takes us to our Choose Recipients area. Talked about custom lists. Again, those are lists of email addresses, up to 50,000, one by one on a new line, that are not dynamic. Those do save within the system, and those allow you to multi-select lists. I can increase.
Burrito polls, you guys. Yes.
Now, we have two other ways, well, 2.5. Now, the first one I'll talk about is an email address file. So it's similar to custom lists, but it's a one-time email address file. This gives you the ability to upload a an email address file of up to 50,000 email addresses. You can have 3 columns, email address being the first column, and then you can also have first name and last name, although first name and last name are not required. The benefit to using an email address file is so that if we do end up creating non-member records because we could not find a match to an email address, is that we potentially have first name and last name as well. You could do a one-time upload of up to 50,000 email addresses. You do have the potential of creating non-member records there as well. And then finally, we have our data viewer option. There are a few options in data viewer that you can utilize. Now, what I want to talk about is upload a constituent ID file. This allows you to upload a single column file of up to 250,000 constituent IDs. Now, the system will take a look at all of those constituent IDs and matches within our system to those constituent IDs and pull as many of the primary email addresses as we can. So as many of them that have primary email addresses, we will add those to our recipient list.
So can I just stop you for a minute? So
Absolutely.
This is the one we definitely want to use anytime at all possible. Okay. It's Net ID. It is actual EMPL ID, which is residing in Harris as well. We have both Net and EMPL in modules. So this, I think, will help even after the fact that we'll have EMPL IDs. We don't have to do a lot of conversion lookups to load into PeopleSoft if we need to. So, sorry, go ahead.
I just read what it said.
Load constituent ID, ASV, Excel file. So,
We can set the parent to our, in our system, and
it may be able to right away when we start, but yes, that's the goal, and I'm hoping actually by the new year we'll be able to do that.
Oh, cool.
So, January timeframe.
We are not doing list based on Net ID anymore. Email it.
So you will not be using our query building tool. I'll be using just the
So, I mean, the option still is in iModules, you can always still pull from there. It doesn't necessarily apply to that, but anytime we feel like we need to go to Brio on the outside and we want to pull a list and upload, we need the constituent ID, which is our EMPL ID, not the Net ID. You can still pull on the Net ID. It just causes all these non-member records that Crystal keeps talking about, which we'll save that for another time because you guys don't need to really be concerned about that right now. And knowing that if you don't use EMPL ID, it will create these non-member records that someone else will have to be looking at.
So, we've, in class, we pulled up, like, the whole class list for 1976, I pull up now, let's say, the EMPL IDs for that class,
Right.
and I title it, and I keep it. That will forever be updated. I have to re-pull that list. I can always just use that list for class of 1976, and whatever changes have been made in PeopleSoft will be automatically updated, correct?
Is this list dynamic, Crystal?
No, this is a one-time CSV file upload.
If you pull out of iModules, same theory as today, right? If you pull out of iModules, it will be the most current and the most dynamic list. Yep.
That is correct.
Right, okay.
Yep. So
One time.
nothing's really changed from that perspective. You know, if it's in the system, then you get all the system properties. If it's in modules, you get all those functionality. If it's outside, it's almost like anything else. It's, you're adding to it, so it doesn't see it, so it's not able to give you all the functionality that it potentially could have if you pull from within.
When we're analyzing the emails, is it still going to be possible to let them know what their Net ID is in the email?
You can pull it in as a token.
a token, okay.
Mhm. If you use this option, absolutely.
I need to cut you off, I just wanted to, I know we needed to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So this is going to be your preferred option if you're pulling from your back-end database, if you're creating lists from your back-end database. Now, if you want a dynamic list using the iModules database, so any data that we already have in our database, have the query building tools, these first 4 radio buttons. Now, your first option is to include all records. Now, this will add every person in the iModules database that has an email address. Now, that is your members, your non-members, that is top to bottom everyone. It's rare you will send an email to absolutely everyone, but you might. So we're at that second option, which is creating a brand new query, and select. Oop, and out a little bit so you can see. On that next screen, you can filter, or you can drill into either the profile form or individual forms, events, donations, membership, and so on to find your specific fields you'd like to search off of. You also have a quick field list that will give mostly fields from your profile form that you can do a search on. Generally, you can find the profile fields that you're taking a look at. Let's see, just for example, I'll state here. Oh, got a couple of class years here, so I'll just.
Can you zoom in on this part, because I can't see?
Enter one. Okay, are the same, so I'll just use one of them. So we've got state, class, and major. I'll put New York. (2001) and major, just the value. Different options in your drop-down depending on what type of field we're taking a look at. Now you have right query logic. First one is AND statements. This will take a look at everyone in the iModules system that is in New York, graduated in 2001, and they have a major listed. You can switch it over to OR statements, and it will pull everyone in your system that lives in New York, or they graduated in 2001, or they have a major listed. So that should be just about everyone. You also do custom where logic, and you can do everyone that lives in New York, and they either graduated in 2001 or they have a major. So you can get pretty specific with your searches. I do often see regional searches based on zip codes, so multi-search zip codes. Also, and
area codes and club codes and regions in there as well. So there's other fields that you can query on.
Sorts of stuff. Anyone? No, no one? I may have the wrong preferred class year. Switch this up. Nothing. We'll go to New York then. So I'm looking right now.
We just did a data load, so I'm surprised. Oh, you know what? Laura has it. She hasn't uploaded it yet.
So that makes sense. So let's.
We're in the 5-day queue. So
Okay, okay.
you're only seeing a few, and I don't know, you might a couple others from a test perspective.
Okay. pull the class of 2010. There we go. So 3,558. From here, select next. If I've pulled maybe a complex query, or I pulled a regional group or a club group, and it's one that I want to use over and over, I can save that entire query to run anytime I'd like, give it a good description, or I can save it as a criteria template, and that will save just the fields that I'm looking for and allow me to make different choices, so choose my own values for those fields in the future. And I'll show you where those are stored here in just a moment. But from here, I'll just select next. 3550, and it'll look about 150 off. These are the ones that have a preferred email address in the system, valid. Now I can just edit this at any time. Our options are to use a saved query. This is a saved query list, or your criteria templates. And that is where you could save a criteria template that just houses those fields. So it would just be class year, and when I run it, I'll be able to choose which class years I'm looking for. So it's a saved query, and I'll do class of 2000. Okay, we've got sorts of fun stuff set up.
This was not dynamic, correct?
These are dynamic.
Are the dynamic ones, okay.
These are dynamic. So if I run this today, but I set my email up to run in 2 weeks, this number may change.
Okay.
If their data has changed. Yep, so very dynamic. If I set up a recurring newsletter, this will change every time, potentially.
Yep.
Right. So from here, I'll save and continue, and this is where you can schedule your email. We do have the ability very soon. Right now, it's just on our Express emails, but very soon you are going to have the ability to schedule your emails to the minute instead of at the top of the hour. Right now, you can do it at the top of the hour. Now, I chose a one-time custom email, but your recurring custom emails you can set to send as often as you would like, daily, weekly, monthly, random dates. It's up to you. Now, we are coming out with a 2-minute as well as a Send Now feature. Now, Send Now is a very powerful tool, so we do recommend giving yourself at least a few minutes of leeway, just in case. So, all that is coming very soon. Oh, well. For the future, saving you. On this next screen, this is where you are confirming your information. Save and continue again. I'm going to drop from the grid into the released email grid. I have an estimated number of recipients of 1,066, even though in my choose recipients grid was much higher. So the system has already gone through deduping and looking at the unsubscribes and a lot of other checks to give me an estimated number of recipients. Now, instead of actually sending to those people, I am going to delete an email that I have created. See about that junky email going out to real people. And from here, I'm going to look at email and email reporting. You do not have any reporting, so I am going to move over to my training site. Email reporting screen will show you which community these emails are coming from. You can category your email was sent from, email campaign name, last time that email ran, how many sent to, number of kickbacks, You have open and unopened. You'll notice those are underlined, so they are hyperlinks, so I can click on them. I can see how many opens there were. And within those opens, you can see how many clicks that person clicked and action count. Action count is anything that we can track. So did they log in? Did they make a donation? Did they update any profile information? You can also click on your unopens to see who did not open your email, so you can email them and harass them, of course. You also have your clicks and your unique clicks. Your unique clicks are the people. So 2 people clicked 3 times. 1 then clicked twice. Now that's clicking twice within the email. So 3 people clicked 3 times. So I can click on that 3. These 3 people that clicked, they clicked, and their action count. Now this is my training site. Your action count may not be quite high. I use these over and over and over. And then going back, I can click on that 33 to see what links they're actually clicking on. So I have the link URL, and the link preview, so I can hover over it for a preview of the actual link within the email. I have how many clicks and how many people, and I can click on it to see who actually clicked on that link. If you are utilizing a forward to a friend link, that data will be over here, and you have your unsubscribes over to the right, and a preview option so you can preview your email. If you little caret over to the left of your email, that means it's a recurrent email, so you can see each instance, each reporting instance. You'll multi-select your emails, anchor selected items. If you prefer to view this reporting data in a CSV file, you can export. Date filters over on the left, so we have a quick date range as well as custom date range. And my favorite, which are tracking reports. So you can click and drag any of these tracking reports down to the bottom of your screen. Nice pie graph or a bar chart. Yes, pie chart or bar graph. Oh my goodness. And conversion reports that you can expand here. And see emails by event registrations or donation dollars. Now, expect the reporting to get a facelift here in the next few months. That is one of the things that we are working on. And show you where you can find information on email marketing as well as the new release information. Anytime you're logged into your site, in the right-hand corner, there's a question mark icon with your online help site. When you're logged into your online help site, at that first page there, you have training sessions there. You also have product releases and updates. I'm going to open that link in a new tab. So under product releases and updates, we have product launch there. Take a look at product releases. So we enhance email marketing delivery service. You'll notice email marketing has been a huge deal for us lately. You can watch a video on our product launch with our archives, and any of the older information as well. And view our product roadmap. Back to our help site over on the left, we have email. You can email or you can expand it, either one. So custom email there. Any of these topics, you're going to have tips and tricks, embed videos, all sorts of information. I have that up for us. I'm in Clicker. I don't know about you guys. Information about email size limits and pre-late tokens. Right, that's loading up. Oh, that's loading up. I do want to show you where you can access our training videos. We're in the client community, so clients.imodules.com. Under Training tab, there's two training sessions. It's where you can see a calendar of all of our training modulars. So they're webinar type of modulars, so they're very similar to what we're doing today. And if you needed a little updates, lectures, usually 30 to 40 minutes each. And if you don't have the to attend in this particular sessions, you can always take a look at the recorded modular sessions right here. Show you each of the modulars that are appropriate for learning about each of these areas. So if you're interested in learning more about donations or email marketing, anything that I've said today, if you want to learn more information on, this tells you each of the sessions, and these links are linked to the recorded videos. So you can watch all of the recordings, you can pause, you can follow along. So if that's a type of learner that you are, very hands-on, these videos are going to be great for you as well. In your help site, again, there are embedded video tutorials. So they're a little bit different than our training videos, but they're embedded, they're much shorter. You have tips and tricks over to the right, including email marketing best practices, how to create a recurring birthday email, tips on formatting, and so on, improving your open rates. Ton of information. Everything in this area is very step-by-step. And if you're the type of person that likes to have your help documentation in hand, in the upper right-hand corner, these three dots here, you can export this information to a PDF document or a Word document. So if you're very much a highlighter. So what questions do you have for me? Questions, comments, concerns, strong disagreements?
Just one thing, training, you know, that's the general iModules, so it won't be our format. It would be.
That is correct.
Where I would go do something or where a function is located.
Going back to when you showed us pulling the list for on what stage it was in, but it was before the email was sent, and it showed you the number of kickbacks. Statistics. Is there a download with that so you can see that is and the
Number of kickbacks, yes.
are they attached to a person's name?
Yes, so if somebody has a kickback, you didn't know who they are, sure. So in your email history grid, I can take a look at any of my emails, and I can do the email exception report. And I get my kickback report. Show you all of my kickbacks and what were kickbacks. So if we knew who that person was, then we'll pre-fill the member name. Now mine were email at emailfake.com and fake at, so of course those are going to pull any. Now I can use these or reset my filters and to any other email, or I can pull all of my kickbacks. If you're concerned about a specific question, so filter name or email, or a specific, not question, a specific person. You can take a search by name or email and see if they're on the kickback list, or can filter by date. But I'm going to generate a report without putting in a date or email or anything like that, and it gives me member name, gives me the email address we sent to, and what type of kickback it was. I can also click on their name. So again, if we knew who they were when we emailed them, I can their name, and it takes me to their profile. And you can also get there under email and kickbacks.
Right. So just recently, we had some classes that want to send a paper mailing to all the people who were kicked back to make sure they got the message, so.
Oh, sure. Yep, we'll only get their names if they exist in the iModule system already.
Right. That's what we're using.
I mean, iModules and PeopleSoft will talk back and forth, but it depends, you know, it's immediate synchronization, so it's overnight. So it is the same, but potentially depending on what moment in time you're talking about, they could be different.
But saying that if iModules identifies a kickback for some reason, it's going to communicate that back to PeopleSoft, so that gets updated in that system as well.
No, there's no, PeopleSoft doesn't recognize kickbacks, only iModules does. That's not.
Maybe I will update on our end.
So modules won't say, PeopleSoft, this email address isn't good anymore, you need to look for a new one.
Correct. It's the same as it is today. Unless updated or the customer updates it, there's no automatic, you know, if it's changed overnight, it will sync the new, but not like.
If you were to pull up reorder, like say, I'm pulling best travelers for the travel program, because that's probably not going to be one of the ones that I can pull through iModules right away, a dynamic report. Some of them are, and some of them are spouses and not, but they're coded in such a way that anyway, so if I pull that,
I have to upload it as a custom list from Brio, and then upload it. And then those people, so if you email kickbacks from that list, it's just put in iModules, so just see it on that report. If you want something done in PeopleSoft to reflect that, you would have to go to PeopleSoft or ask for a change or whatever you do to update PeopleSoft.
thanks.
Those updates that have to be done manually, and there's no system in place that will automatically use this report. So if we know it's a wrong email, it's incorrect.
Right.
There's no system in place yet that will just
Not the
Figure it out.
report perspective. If you went and changed the person's record,
but manually you're talking about.
yes, if you change
So if I have a
the
list
date,
of like 300,
right,
they have to, there's no automatic way of.
which is the same as it is today.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay.
The list that we use will be automatically deduped.
Yes.
Yep.
Won't have,
Mhm.
should we still, like if I'm taking a list from Brio, do I still run it through JRP before I put it into iModules?
Question, I don't know, but I don't even see it today.
Before I put it, before I do anything. I
With
always
that
just-
hard copy address, but don't they each have different emails? Or like a couple and they have the same one
Oh,
email?
like when I
It wouldn't
pull
be a,
mailing, yeah.
then it
okay.
would be a dupe,
Okay.
which would be automatically deleted, but they want to have, each get their own email.
Right, okay.
Anything else?
Speaking for myself, my husband doesn't read very
We're all set?
I'd rather have my.
Are good? No other questions?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and if you do have any additional questions, please feel free to let me know. Again, if you wouldn't mind sending me a list of just our participants today, I would really appreciate that.
Yes, I will send you that.
Excellent. And I believe we have a group tomorrow as well.
Yes, we do. There'll be an event.
All right. Well, I will speak with you tomorrow then.
Okay, thank you, Crystal.
No problem. You all have a wonderful day. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.